Thank you so much for your time today. I'm Helen Hudson, the founder of SafeShowings, also a realtor in Charleston, South Carolina. What you'll hear first is a short video. Think of it as our commercial. It's about a minute long. When we traveled for 2 years to promote SafeShowings, is what we play at the booth. So when people walk up, if I'm talking, they can get a high level view of who we are. Then I'll tell you what happened to me 5 years ago, this past March, that inspired me to create SafeShowings. I'll also share a video with you. It's about 2 minutes long. It's a visual look at the app so you can see how it operates, how easy it is to use. If you can press buttons, you can use SafeShowings. I'll talk about right after the video plays, I'll go over the common questions and answers that I hear. I found that saves time if I go ahead and kind of tell you what I think your questions might be and answer those questions quickly. I'll also want to answer any questions you have. The best thing about SafeShowings is your association has invested in your safety. What that means is you get free access to SafeShowings, so congratulations. We'll spend a couple minutes going on how you access the app for free. It's super simple, and we'll go ahead and start.
Did you know that over 760,000 real estate professionals have had situations where they feared for their safety when they enter a property alone with a stranger? The SafeShowings mobile app was developed by a realtor to give real estate professionals proactive control over their own safety. It is quick and easy to record names, automatically capture exact GPS addresses, and it prompts you to capture a secure image of each potential buyer's space, a feature unique to SafeShowings. Over 200 real estate professionals have been murdered in the last decade while showing homes to prospective buyers. SafeShowings provides protection and peace of mind for real estate agents, homeowners, and potential buyers as it aims to deter crime before it starts. With SafeShowings, real estate professionals and their loved ones feel more secure, knowing that SafeShowings will automatically notify them with identifying details and geolocation in an emergency. For more information, visit SafeShowings.com. Find SafeShowings in the App Store or Google Play today and start feeling safe during showings and open houses.
5 years ago, this past March, I was a new realtor here in Charleston, South Carolina. I'd had my license for a little over a year, and I received an internet lead to go meet a buyer at a property. But when I drove up to the neighborhood, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. It just didn't feel like a safe area. But I park my car, I wait for the buyer to arrive. He arrives, we go in the home, and I leave the door open. We're taught to always know our exit strategy. It was a small house. I stood towards the front of the home, and left the door open. He walked to the back of the house and he got on his cell phone. A minute later, a truck drove up. 2 men jumped on the porch, and that's when my heart stopped. I thought, nobody knows where I am or who I'm with. Thankfully, though, I'm here to tell the rest of the story. I was not harmed that day, but as you can imagine, I was already nervous. And when that happened so suddenly, I just didn't know what would happen next. What did happen is they were driving by, they saw the for sale sign, they saw the realtor magnet on my car. They noticed the door was open, so they thought it was an open house. I regained my composure. I gave them my card, told them I was working with a buyer and they could call me for an appointment. But I left that situation changed. I knew that I was given a second chance. I did simple Google search after that happened to me. Really, I was just curious. Am I the only one who has situations like this, where you fear for your life? And I found out over 200 realtors have been murdered in the last decade. I created a binder. I read the stories of the faces of those 16 that you see here. And I can tell you they died a horrific death. And I also will tell you that the 200 that have lost their lives would tell us today, if they could talk to us, they would tell you they didn't know they were going to lose their life. They were working with a buyer or a seller. You cannot talk to somebody on the phone and set an appointment and just by the sound of their voice know if they have criminal intentions. So that's my why. I've been searching for 20 years for what my purpose is in this world, what I can do to make it better. Never thought it would be a technology solution for safety, but God had a different plan for me. You probably know about Beverly Carter, this Realtor Safety Month. A lot of people know her son, Carl. Hopefully you've seen him on stage. I highly encourage going to their website, the Beverly Carter Foundation. He's a friend of mine, we've done podcasts together, and he said, Helen, I think if my mom had safe showings, she might be here today. So that's another big reason I do what I do. We're not the only ones that are at risk working with buyers and sellers alone. We could put homeowners at risk, not on purpose, but imagine your house is on the market. I can bring somebody in, not knowing they have criminal intentions. They can look and see where your security systems are, where your child's bedroom is, where you store your valuables, and they could come back in 2 weeks or 2 months and harm you and your family. I don't think we think about that side of the equation and the risks that we can put for homeowners. Of course, again, it's not on purpose, but I think we should do better. Right out of college in 1986, I managed apartments in Sterling, Virginia. Even in Sterling, Virginia, almost 20 years ago, or whatever that math is, so long ago, we made our renters that want to see an empty apartment surrender a driver's license. They still do that today, apartment industry. People are going in to see an empty apartment and they have a higher level of awareness for safety than we do. We represent the largest commodity that people purchase in the lifetime, and there's no policy, mandate, or law that holds us accountable for safety. I think that should change. Right after that happened 5 years ago, I did my research. I was really hoping I could find a tool that I could use that tells every buyer and seller I'm in control of my safety. And I wanted to solve that feeling of fear I felt when I said nobody knows where I am or who I'm with. Most of the products on the NAR website under safety resources, we've been there for 4.5 years. Most of the products will tell your emergency contacts where you are. But imagine 5 years ago, standing on that porch with 3 men. If they had intentions to kill me, all that does is tell my emergency contacts where to tell the coroner to go pick up my body. It's not good enough. It's not proactive, it's reactive. There's a big difference between being proactive about your safety or reactive. 5 years ago, I was reactive. I wasn't prepared. The buyer didn't know I was in control of my safety before I met with them. If I had a gun 5 years ago, standing on that porch with 3 men, and they had intentions to harm me, knowing me, it would have been in my purse. I would not have had the ability to take control over it and use it to defend myself. And again, because they didn't know I have it, it's not powerful. If it were on my hip, that'd be a different story, but I don't need to add anything else to my, so that's not where it would be. If you want to run a reverse lookup before you meet with someone, but you don't tell them you're doing it, they don't know you're in control of safety. You have to kind of have the mindset of a criminal for a moment. Imagine you're a criminal and you're talking to a realtor that's going to meet you and show you property, and they don't say anything about using a reverse lookup or anything towards safety. You see them, if you're a criminal, as the easy target because they haven't told you they're doing anything. The way you can make it proactive, whether it's a gun or a reverse lookup, is let them know. For every buyer or seller appointment, when you're in the safety of your office, that's when you start that process. You say, hey, I just want you to know I carry a concealed permit and a weapon. I hope I never, ever have to use it. But I tell all the buyers and sellers that I work with, I carry a weapon. It's just the world we live in. Or, hey, I'm required to run a reverse lookup. It's our association cares about safety. We do that before we meet with buyers and sellers in today's market. Then they know you're in control. Another thing to think of is criminals always have their first crime. So you could run a reverse lookup of a cell phone and there's no red flags and they don't know you did it. You show up with a false sense of safety and you can become their first victim. We teach people, our partners, and you're a partner, to be proactive about your safety. When you're on the phone talking to buyers and sellers, that's when you tell them, hey, our association cares about safety. We're required to use safe showings and we are required to take a photo before we enter a property. Then they know you're in control. If I'm a criminal and someone says that to me politely and professionally on the phone, I'm going to hang up the phone and realize that there's a chance I could get caught. They're going to have a record of where I was and a picture of my face. So I'm not going to work with that person because there's a big chance I could get caught. The number one fear a criminal has is getting caught, not the punishment. It's getting caught. They're cowards. They look for easy targets. That's why doorbell cameras work. That's why having a sign in your window that says you have a security system works. because statistics show that those tools are proactive, therefore they work. If you use pepper spray, a piece of jewelry, or relied on a lockbox, that's reactive. It wouldn't have saved my life 5 years ago. All again, it would do is tell your emergency contacts where to send the coroner to pick up your body. We provided your association with the safety toolkit. And in the toolkit are about 34 talking point graphics that illustrate how to be safe and how to be proactive. We have rider signs and open house flyers. You can put your rider signs on your listings. That lets everyone going by know you care about safety, and they're going to remember you when they want to sell their house. But it tells every criminal going by, wait a minute, it looks like they have cameras. There's a chance I could get caught. I'm not going to take that risk. Here's a quick demo of the app.
By downloading the SafeShowings app, you're proactively preparing to take advantage of more secure client contact when conducting open houses and showing appointments. Start by entering the emergency contacts of your choice, like friends, your broker, or family members. It's an easy one-step process. The app features an easy-to-adjust timer feature that will alert your emergency contacts if you've not responded during the time frame you have set. When showing properties, the app will track your exact location via the GPS feature. You can autofill your appointments information right from the contacts in your phone. You can see that the app provides significant safety at this point, but there's more. When first meeting with the appointment, use your phone to snap a photo of the client. Research demonstrates that this approach is the best way to deter criminal behavior. Now your contacts will be notified if you don't check in based on the timer, and identifying information based on the photo from your showing. All of these features give you accountability for safely doing business during your showings and open houses. Following each showing, the app gives you the opportunity to make a record of the appointment. The app provides free form notes that the app will store for you. By the way, the SafeShowings app saves all the information from each showing so that you can go back and review your opportunities for sales. The open house feature provides the same great security options. Always be sure to get the facial image for all contacts during your open houses. There is a handy 5-star rating system for your showing contacts. This, along with your notes, can alert you and others of potential problems from a suspicious person or from any previous showing.
This is where I spend a little time going over common questions. People ask me, Helen, why are you so passionate about getting an image of a face? They ask me, what do the buyers and sellers say when you're on the phone in the safety of your office and you're setting your appointments and you tell them you use a safety app? What do they say? And then the third question is, where does that photo go? The first question is kind of a cool story. Right after the situation happened to me and I decided to move forward with creating an app, the first version of my app was an app that would take a picture of a driver's license. That came from my property management background. Before I traveled for 2 years to promote SafeShowings, I went to the legislative conference in DC that following May to get ideas, walk the exhibit floor and so forth, and before I traveled. I was up early, I wanted coffee and breakfast, and there's this guy standing at the top of the stairs, and he's holding 2 cups of coffee, and he said, "Who are you?" He looked like Duck Dynasty, kind of scared me. I jumped back, I was like, is he talking to me? He said, "I saw you on the airplane, I saw you 2 more times." And I told myself, if I saw you again, I was going to find out who you are and what you do. And he became my business partner. That's why we were on the same flight. We're both from Charleston. And when I was sitting in his office, when we got back from this conference, I'm sitting there and he said, "Why are you getting the image of a driver's license?" And I told him why. And he said, "You need to get an image of a face." He wrote code that launches missiles for the military. He knows a lot about artificial intelligence, and he has 3 daughters. He said, "Helen, think about it. When you're on the phone with somebody and you're telling them use a safety app and that you're going to take a photo of their face in a polite way, of course." He said, number one, they can't fake that image. When you use a camera, it's going to look like them, who looks like their driver's license. The second thing is people cannot say they forgot their face when you show up to do what you're supposed to do and take that image. They can't deny they have a face. So that's why we get an image of a face. The second question we hear, what do buyers and sellers say when you tell them on the phone before you meet with them and you're in the safety of your office that you use a safety app and you're required to take an image? They are going to respect you if you reverse the role and you were sincerely interested in buying or selling. You're going to be impressed and understand that realtors work alone. In today's world, you should be safe. There's nothing to hide if you're not a criminal. If they're a criminal and they hear that, they're going to realize you're not an easy target. They're going to hang up the phone and dial somebody else that doesn't have a safety protocol. Again, that's their number one fear, is getting caught. I felt that way before this happened to me 5 years ago. I cared more about the sale than my safety, but now that's changed, and I was given a second chance, and I want you to be proactive about your safety. And then the third question, where does the image go? It goes to our cyber secure cloud, and that's important because, again, the first thing you do in safety is you tell every buyer and seller while you're setting your appointments in the safety of your office, hey, we use SafeShowings, the realtor safety app. We're required to take a photo before we meet with buyers and sellers. It's just the world we live in. Whatever you're comfortable saying, but do it before you meet with people. The second safety step, best practice, is to arrive to the property early, like most of us do. You're in the safety of your car. That's when you press the first button that says create showing. There's nowhere in the app you have to type anything. If you can push buttons, you can use SafeShowings. The timer starts. You're in the safety of your car. You've arrived early. The next thing our app is going to ask you is, who are you meeting with? You go right to your contacts and touch Kevin Johnson's name, and it goes into our app. You do this before you get out of the safety of your car, whether you're going on a listing appointment or working with a buyer. For a listing appointment, then you get out of the safety of your car. Your timer starts at 45 minutes and counts down. Ring the doorbell. Hey, as I mentioned, I just need to get a quick photo. If it's husband, wife, you take one picture, keep it simple. If it's working with the buyer, you've started the app in the safety of your car. You auto-populated by touching on their contact. Their name and phone number goes into our app. You approach them as they drive up. You remind them, hey, as I mentioned, I use SafeShowings. I just need to get a photo. If it's 4 people, it's 1 picture. If they destroy the phone, they attack you in the front yard and they destroy your phone, your 3 emergency contacts will still be sent the last location of the phone, who you're with, because you auto-populated that before you got out of the safety of your car, and a photo. If you were able to capture that photo, it goes to our cyber secure cloud. Our app starts at 45 minutes and counts down. That's a pre-setting that we determined would be good for people. Most people can get in and out of one property in less than 20 minutes. If your app your timer gets to 5 minutes, it will send you a text message and supersede anything you're looking at. If you're looking at the MLS notes or whatever, you're going to get a text message that says, are you safe? Reset your timer. That's your 5-minute warning. We teach members the best practices. Just reset your timer. When you glance down and see there's 19 minutes, just press the reset timer button. They might be looking at the kitchen countertops or whatever. Street by street, road by road, our app knows where you are. This is not showing time. In my opinion, it's totally different. It's a safety app, and it's going to keep up with where you go. So if you change your route, sometimes you're working with buyers that change their mind, or that you were going to show them a house they don't want to see it. Our app's going to know where you are at all times. When you put the car in drive, street by street, road by road, this is updating instantly. When you put the car in park, it saves your second address. The top left corner is the menu section. Under the menu section, we have an emergency alarm button. 5 years ago, I wouldn't have pressed the emergency alarm button. It is in the menu section behind this part because it's where your thumb would be, and we don't want to call 911 accidentally. So it's a 2-second approach. Instead of waiting 19 minutes to call for help, it calls 911 in 10 seconds, sends your 3 emergency contacts, your exact location, who you're with, because you auto-populated that, and an image that you took. There's a 10-second delay in case you accidentally touch the emergency alarm button. It'll say, do you want to call 911? You say yes or no. That gives you a chance to cancel the call. In the menu section, you have the open house feature. This is one of the only app solutions that works for open houses. We don't know who's coming to an open house. We don't have their cell phone number to do a reverse lookup. So we have to handle that still in a safe manner. And the way we teach members is just greet them at the door outside, depending on the weather, and just say, hey, the homeowner has required I'm accountable and I have to take a photo before anyone enters their property. People understand that. They're going to realize, wow, if this was my house, I would like that same accountability. If it's a group of 10 or 15 people, don't make it hard. Just take one picture. If one of the people in the crowd is a criminal, they're going to realize that their picture has been captured and they could be proven to have been there. So they're going to behave. They're not going to want to harm you or the people that own that home. Our app tracks and saves all your listing appointments, showing information, the date, the time, the person's name. There is a CRM section you can skip. You don't have to type anywhere in our app. Everything's logical. That's just how my brain works. The first button is create showing, the last button in the showing. But it doesn't, there's a CRM section where you saw in the video buying in September. You can type a note or skip it. There's nowhere you have to type anything. At the very end, just like Uber and Lyft, you rate how you felt working with a buyer or a seller only from a safety standpoint. That's the only part of this app that's shareable throughout our industry. We're building a database across the country. So I was working with Kim Hall here in Charleston. That's her unique phone number. Everything's driven by a unique phone number. She comes to your market, you're on the phone with her and you let her know, hey, we use SafeShowings. It's a realtor safety app. We're required to take a photo before we enter a property. She's probably going to interrupt you and say, I'm already in the system. I worked with someone in Charleston. But even if she doesn't, another best practice is, as you're setting your appointments, letting people know that you use a safety app and you're required to take a photo. Once you hang up the phone, you can just put in their information. You press the create showing button in the safety of your office. It'll say, who are you meeting with? Type on Kim Hall. You're going to see one realtor has rated the client. Just like Uber and Lyft, you have to give at least 1 star. And there's an optional note section. If I had a situation where I was scared, I would write a note to the realtor or to our industry saying, here's my cell phone, call me. I want to explain what happened when I worked with this person. Just like Uber and Lyft, again, you have to give at least 1 star. Most of the time, it's going to be 5 stars because if you follow the best practices, you're not working with a criminal. If your timer runs out, you got the 5-minute warning, you ignore it, the app will do what it's supposed to do. It's going to send your 3 emergency contacts and a text message at the same time saying there might be a problem. There'll be a 3D image of where you are. We felt this was important in case it's a townhome or a condominium, the exact address of where you are, the person's name that you're with. We have their cell phone in our cyber secure cloud, and an image that you took. I say it that way because we really can't control what you take a picture of. Hopefully it's the person's face. If it's a squirrel or a foot, that's what they're going to see. So it's important, seriously, to be safe and get that image. If you don't have cell signal, you role play it the same way, always telling every buyer, every seller, when you're in the safety of your office, hey, I use SafeShowings. It's a realtor safety app. It's just the world we live in. And I'm required to take a photo before I enter a property. The best scenario when you don't have good cell signal is to carry a mobile router. Then you have cell signal. Second best is meet them at Starbucks. You know your market, you know ahead of time there's no cell signal. Meet them at Starbucks where you have cell signal. Start the process there. Take their photo there. It goes to our cyber secure cloud. Let your 3 emergency contacts know you're showing a property. This is the address. This is when to check on you. This is who you're going to meet with. And that's a good approach. So worst case scenario, you role played it. You told them you use SafeShowings and you're required to take a photo. And you get there early, you don't know your market, you don't realize there's not self-service, but you role played it. You get there early and you're like, uh-oh. That's when you text your 3 emergency contacts where you are, who you're with, when to check on you. And when you drive up and the person, if it's a buyer, they drive up, you get out of the safety of your car, you still role play it. You say, as I mentioned, I just need to get a quick photo. In that case, it goes to your cell phone, your photo section of your cell phone, and you can text that. Some criminals are smarter than others, so we have to be consistent. They might be targeting properties where there's no cell signal. So always be safe. And then your association's invested in your safety. There's no cost to you. I'm going to show you how easy it is to access Safe Showings. Those are just testimonials. Let's see. This is a recorded version that you'll hear of the registration process. Hi, I'm Helen Hudson, the founder of Safe Showings. I'm also a realtor in Charleston, South Carolina. I created Safe Showings because 3 years ago, I had a situation where I feared my own personal safety. You're receiving this video because your MLS, association, or brokerage has purchased Safe Showings Enterprise for you, so congratulations. In order to receive it for free, you do have to follow the instructions on this flyer. It's super simple. You click under option 1 there, the download button, the download link. It takes you to this screen, then you press the button that says register here. Then it takes you to this step where you enter your cell phone number, your first name, your last name, your email address. Be careful when you're typing in all this information, make sure it's accurate, and also create a password. Then click the agree to terms and press proceed. The next thing that'll happen is you'll receive a 4-digit code to your cell phone. Enter the 4-digit code here and press the button. It will take you to this screen. The last step is you click the button that says send the link. The link goes to your phone. If you have an iPhone, you click the first option at the top that's highlighted. If you have an Android, you click the one for Android. Then if you want to know more about our app, under option 2, you can click learn how it works, and it takes you to this instructional video.
By downloading the Safe Showing.
And you've already seen the video, but you can view it again. I'll make sure your association has the links and the access to our safety toolkit with the rider signs and the open house flyers. Appreciate your time, and if you have any questions, you can ask them now, or feel free to send an email and ask us questions. My email is my first name at safeshowings.com. So it's Helen, Helen, at safeshowings.com. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.